we were supposed to record this a couple of days ago. I mean, we literally put the question on the Twitter thing up at the weekend. Unfortunately, I got very ill.
Yeah.
I'm still not better, so bear with me if I sound a bit off during the podcast.
Winter flu, is it?
Winter has arrived, unfortunately.
All right, welcome to episode 3 of our podcast, the wonderful, the amazing, Decent Thrills podcast.
Always on time.
Always on time, always on schedule.
Once every week.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say that we can lay the once a week thing to rest at this point.
Yeah, it's just been really unlucky for both of us.
Yeah.
Especially me this week.
Yeah. We're busy. We're both busy at certain times, so...
We're both busy or ill.
Yeah, so I think we're just going to get these recorded when we can get them recorded.
I'd say we'll go for once every 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
I would say don't make any promises, but that's about what you can expect from us at this point.
Yeah.
We are still planning on doing the Icon podcast. That's definitely...
Just having a bit of issues aligning our schedules with a guest who we want to have come on talk about it.
Yes.
So
yeah.
So instead, we're going to go back to our America trip, and we're going to deviate slightly from the order we actually did the trip in, because this park in particular is there's a lot to cover in this one.
Yeah,
and then the next one we talk about will be Dorney Park, which was our park after Great Adventure. And after that we'll also put SFA in that same episode.
Yeah, we do. They're both pretty small parks for their chains, so... Yeah. But
we really wanted to get this one first because we have a lot to say about it, and it's Hersheypark.
Hersheypark, God. I was so excited to go here. This was somewhere that I was really fucking looking forward to going to.
I can't remember the morning for this one.
I
think all I remember is that we'd all slept in quite well because we'd just come from Dorney.
Yes.
And they were actually well rested.
Yeah, because we were already in Harrisburg at that point because we came from Dorney. As soon as we left Dorney, we drove down to Harrisburg where our hotel was. Thank you again to Max for sorting out those hotels. Yeah, it was nice. You know, I've heard people saying when you go to America you should avoid Red Roof Inn, but for us they were great. Really,
I had absolutely no issues with the Red Roof Inn. Literally none. Honestly,
it did get a little bit damp, but I'm putting that more down to the humidity than anything.
I think that is more the humidity, honestly.
But
I had the same thing at Max's place as well.
Not so much. I didn't think so.
Yeah.
They're cheap, and if you're doing a trip like this, you're going to need some cheap accommodation.
Plus, especially recently, I've heard horror stories about American hotels, and comparing those to the Red Roof Inn places we stayed at, it's it's literally night and day.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a certain area or a certain few in particular.
Yeah, maybe.
I guess everyone's view.
Maybe we just had a really good experience with them, but no, it was perfect.
It was fine. No different to a Holiday Inn or Travelodge in the UK, really, if not better in some aspects, actually.
I wouldn't go that far, you know. I
mean, the beds are better.
Yes? I don't know.
Anyway, we were quite well rested for this one.
Yeah. So, God, the...
We stopped off at the gas station, got our breakfast, and then just fucking bolted it to the park. Yeah, I barely finished by the time we got there.
Yeah, I did film our reaction, actually, if you looked at the vlogs on my channel, of us kind of driving over the hill and just seeing the arch of Skyrush looming in the distance, and we were like, oh, no.
Yeah. I mean, that wasn't even the most impressive thing to me. The most impressive thing to me was the fucking scale of the land that Hershey owns.
It's a huge fucking area.
Yeah, it's not just the park. There's an arena. There's a couple other things as well.
There's all the land they're expanding onto as well.
Yeah, there's all the land they're
like
expanding on. Hershey's a very large complex. And they've also got, I believe they got some form of accommodation, maybe? Oh no, there's just shops over there. Never mind. No. Stupid.
But yeah, this was a big park, and there is a skyline. Like, you see basically what you see is the three Intamins, like Stormrunner, Fahrenheit, and Skyrush pretty much dominate that skyline.
Yeah, they do.
And then you see the Woodies as you get a bit closer. You see Lightning Racer and Wildcat once you're a bit closer.
It's strange to think how small this park is at the moment when you think about how much land it's got. Because the park barely, the main section of the park barely takes up any of it, honestly.
I know what you mean. Looking at it on maps, there's so much space. And
first half of the park, the first half of the park looks about the same size as the stadium, honestly.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
This includes,
you're not wrong. Yeah.
I just remember thinking it was huge, like the whole complex, the way you had to drive in, and then there was the option to get these, what are they called?
They're like trams, but not.
Yeah, but like the shuttle bus things.
Yeah.
It felt very Disney-esque in a way.
And then
it's like it wasn't Disney, but it kind of felt like it was trying to go for that sort of scale. In a way.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean.
Especially when you're like walking up past the massive chocolate factory. You got old tours here and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. So we got to the entrance, and there was I remember just seeing this massive just block of people in front of the entrance, and I thought, God, are we ever going to get into this place?
Yeah, it's Hershey's weird in the way that it's a really small park. However, the amount of people that go there compared to the park size is just absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah.
And it becomes really apparent at the entrance at the moment because it's so small.
They are getting a new entrance, aren't they, as part of that expansion?
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But the current, it looks fucking really nice, honestly.
It is
the current
nice.
Entrance got. I love the area of the trees and the brick structures. I thought it was really nice looking, honestly.
Yeah. That whole entrance area to the park, I really liked it. It feels very much like a kind of, it's like a village, isn't it? Like really nicely landscaped, trees,
I'm sure
nice buildings.
It kind of reminds me of Tower Street in a way, if it was a lot smaller.
Tower Street's smaller and I think a bit more covered, like by trees. Because Tower Street's quite open.
Also without the over-the-top paintwork everywhere now.
Yeah. No, they Hersheypark have definitely gone for a very classic kind of feel to their entrance area.
And it works. It looks fucking fantastic, honestly.
It is nice. Yeah.
Another thing I remember at the entrance is how it all, you wouldn't think you're going into a theme park. Because there's no, once you're actually down there, you can't see anything from that area, can you?
No. It's just, it's very, very
it's
strange.
So weird. Yeah, it's very strange. You literally walk in and you just see, there's Skyrush.
Yeah, and Skyrush is just So I remember when, I was looking for the toilets when we were at the entrance and I just stumbled upon that little path that leads around the back of Skyrush and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
and that was where we got
Skyrush is really big.
Yeah. That was, that is quite an eye catcher, especially when we found that path.
Well, you found it.
Well, yeah.
And then you sort of dragged us along it. We knew it was there anyway. We were going to go along, but Joel just kind of found it on accident anyway.
Yeah, and I was like, well, we're going this way now.
Yeah. So what sort of things do you remember about the overall park atmosphere when you were there?
Well, two kind of halves to it, I think. You've got the half around the creek where Great Bear, Super Duper Looper, Skyrush, Comet, that area is all really nice and really kind of it feels very much like Blackpool in the way that all the coasters and rides are.
For me, I'd say there are 4 areas, honestly.
Well, this is just kind of how I saw it. There's that side and it feels quite well wooded and everything, and that's nice. And then the other half over near the wooden coasters, the other 2 wooden coasters or the 3 wooden coasters, and Fahrenheit and Laugh Track and the water park. Not a fan of that area so much. It
felt like I was back at Dorney, honestly.
Yeah,
on there.
It feels a lot more like a budget Cedar Fair park around that area.
Yeah, and it really confused me at first because it seemed like such a strange location. And then, lo and behold, go on Google Earth and you go back in time. That whole area used to be just sort of flat, like a hilly grass with not much on it. And then they just sort of plopped the water park in the middle of the park.
Yeah.
It is really condensed in, like ridiculously condensed in. They use as much space as they can.
You can really see it on Google Maps as well. Like looking down, you can see that one half of the park is really like forested and wooden. There's trees everywhere, and then the other half is all just open. And there's
I think the other half used to be like that. But then they wanted to put the water park in, and that sort of swamped the whole thing. I mean, looking at this, it looks like they used to have a rapids ride where the water park went,
right,
as well, which also had a lot of like wooded area around it.
And that's of course where they had roller soaker as well.
Now it's just a lazy river of concrete, waterside. Shame, really.
I mean we're not water park people, really. Like,
yeah, I don't like them personally. I don't hate them. I don't have like a thing against them. It's just not for me, honestly.
No, but
I mean, even I could tell that it was very,
like
flat concrete. I
think
Cedar Fair style sort of thing.
But I think with a lot of these American parks, especially the time of year we went, the water parks is where the money is. Like,
yeah, the water parks are what make money, and that's why they obviously put it in.
A lot of people joke about Dorney, saying that it's Wild Water Kingdom and Dorney Park, because the water park is what gets all the people. And I feel like that may be the case with Hersheypark as well, in terms of at least the general public.
I mean, the queue times beg to differ, honestly.
Well, I never really looked into the water park and saw how busy it was, so who knows?
It was quite busy. However, the park itself was also busy on top of that.
So this was the only park that we went to in the whole trip, really, which really felt busy. Like,
oh yeah, it was so busy when we went. I was quite taken aback. We got a thing that allowed us to skip some of the queues. Which, thank God we had that, because we would have not been able to do everything that day.
No, that was
at all.
That was a lifesaver. The fact we got to rewrite things,
especially on some rides in particular, like Laugh Track and Wildcat specifically, and also Great Bear. Definitely Great Bear.
God, yeah, we'll get to that. Fuck.
Yeah. But I mean, to me, the park it kind of was split into four-ish areas. There's like the beginning area, the Skyrush and Comet, and where you got the classic-y stuff.
Yeah.
Then you got the area up by Great Bear and Coalcracker.
Okay, yeah.
Feels very 2000s in the way that it's got a lot of kind of tallish structures.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
And it's got like very white and blue sort of everywhere. And then that area leads off into a zoo, I believe.
Yeah, Zoo America.
Yeah, that leads off into Zoo America.
Looking at it on maps, Zoo America looks tiny, unless I'm missing something.
I don't even know. But I mean, the third part is by Storm Runner.
Yeah, that's a nice part. Really, actually,
it feels like that's the part of the park, but doesn't feel like Hersheypark, especially when you're down by Trailblazer. Yeah, because you're quite low down. And there's sort of a hill. Going back up again.
That was one of the parts of the park that I really liked, because what you had was
felt really idyllic and peaceful.
Yeah, you had this really kind of scenic, peaceful area with Trailblazer and some kids' rides and some nice trees and everything like that. And then you just look above you, and there's this fucking Intamin accelerator roaring around you.
I mean, some people say that ruins the atmosphere, but honestly, it did not.
I mean, we're roller coaster people, so we fucking.
I know we're roller coaster people.
We fucking loved it.
Spectacle. Yeah, we fucking loved it,
man. Like,
and then for me, the fourth area is that area we just discussed around by the Woodies,
which is pretty bad.
You could tell though there used to be something there, and there are some bits that kind of still hold on to it, like the area around Wildcat and that sort of area. You could kind of see the remnants of what used to be.
Yeah.
I guess so, can't do anything about it, really.
Yeah. And one other thing about, because what we were saying about how busy this park is, it doesn't have the right rides for like a park that gets this busy.
Yeah.
They have a lot of low throughput rides.
Especially on a couple things, like Wildcat, that was one train ops.
God. Wild Mouse. They have a Wild Mouse,
yeah,
they have Laugh Track, Fahrenheit. They have so many things with low capacities.
I mean, even Storm Runner to some extent, because that's only got 2 trains.
Yeah.
And they can't dispatch a train until it's like gone through the course. So like, and it just hasn't got any people. It has got a potential people eater with Great Bear, but no. That does not eat people because of things we'll discuss later.
So hopefully this B&M Hyper they're getting
Yeah,
will.
that's another thing. The crowds are too big for that place.
And
It really
the paths
is just...
the paths are small as well. Like
Yeah, the paths are really small. But there were a lot of choke points. Do you remember up around by the flying scooters and the pirate ship?
you have to remind me what those rides were.
It was quite a choky point there. Well, like, okay, it was basically around where the monorail came into the station.
Okay.
That was very choky. I remember that being very choky because it was kind of... you can literally see it. It literally goes between large areas, and it's just this small bit of pathway. And it's bad. It's very bad.
The other thing was the food, because we wanted to eat.
This was a big thing for me because I did not know this was the case in America. I didn't really consider it much when I was in California. They barely have any places that you can sit indoors in America to eat, and it's really weird because in the UK, all we have these. Not necessarily very nice places to sit in, but the indoors is cool.
That's because we're used to a lot of rain, I guess, and having lots of indoor places is kind of necessary.
Yeah, but everything was outdoors. I just wanted to sit indoors and out of the elements and just eat some food. And then the one place that is indoors was a Chick-fil-A. Except they had this Chick-fil-A, and it was probably one of the tiniest seating areas I think I've ever seen in a fast food joint. In a park like this, and the queue was... How long was it in the end? It was 45 minutes we waited to get food.
I don't know if it was quite that long, but it did feel like
it was a long time, because we were queuing outside the building, and it was so hot and so long of a queue that the staff were coming around giving out water to everybody.
Yeah, they were giving water, which, thank God. This was only 2 days after we went to Great Adventure, so it was really, it was still hot.
It was still pretty hot, but it wasn't quite as bad.
So
it just stuns me that they don't have that many places to just sit indoors and eat food. I get that it's hot and you don't have much rain, but don't you just want to be outside of all the sound and noise and stuff flying around
shade.
And whatever? Yeah, that as well.
In the shade.
Yeah, I just want it to be a nice, clean indoor place. Just sit and relax, really, to eat my food, not out. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm too accustomed to it because of the UK places, but that really irked me. It wasn't necessarily something I hated. No. Now, I'm not just going to be like, oh, I hate the fact that they must eat outside and no indoor places. No, that's not the case at all. It was just kind of a surprise.
It was a little bit... I mean, it was just a bit annoying that there was such a long queue to get into this one place where we could eat indoors.
Well, yeah, that as well.
But, there were lots of nice parts of the park. I do like the creek. I like the creek a lot.
Yeah,
nice.
I can't remember where Hersheypark sits on my top park list, but it's very high because the park itself, it has that. Despite it being quite busy and despite there being some issues with it, it has that park feel, and it's very good to walk around.
Yeah, definitely.
Now get ready. Here we go.
We were told lots of tips and tricks and how to navigate the park, what order to do the rides in order to get on everything. Everyone says do laugh track first because it gets the longest queue, but we found out we had this fast pass thing. We were like, right, let's just go to Skyrush because that was the thing we were most excited for. So we did Skyrush first, but we also finished with Skyrush. So we're gonna go talk about Skyrush at the very end because that was our big finisher, and we're gonna gush about that ride for a long time. But this is one of my first memories, which was quite funny. We kind of walked around to Skyrush, and before we got to the queue, we got to the test seat, and we all just kind of took it in turns to sit in the test seat, and obviously we knew about Skyrush's restraints. We'd heard all the things about the restraints of this ride, so we were kind of really curious to see how bad could this seat be, and we all just kind of took it in turns to sit in the test seat and go oh god, okay. This seat is not designed ergonomically whatsoever. So that was fun. And then we did Skyrush.
It was good, but
it was an experience, yeah. And then we went to Stormrunner. Yeah, the second interview for us.
One of the rides I was really excited for personally because I like coasters that have really well tightly knit layouts, and it's an accelerator. Now, I think I mentioned this on the Great Adventure podcast, I'm not a fan of stealth. Because I think it just doesn't use its momentum well enough. And the launch is not actually that special in my opinion, honestly. I mean, it's a good launch, but it's not like the best. I mean,
okay.
I've been on at least 2 other instrument accelerators prior to that, which I thought had better launches due to various other factors. And Stormrunner is like my perfect idea for an instrument accelerator, and it was absolutely banging. That was
You loved it. I remember.
Yeah,
You were always saying like Stormrunner is going to be that ride that kind of captures you, and I was very excited for it as well. I don't think Stormrunner quite captured me as much as it got you. I still liked it.
I fucking adored it. It was so good. The layout is so concise and well shaped, and just certain things like the flying snake dive.
The flying snake dive is a cool inversion. It is a really cool inversion. So
and just the fact that it does something after that launch. And, you have the top hat, you have the airtime coming out of that. It does more stuff. You have that in Immelman, which is absolutely fantastic. You've got the little sort of curving double up thing into the brake run.
It's called the banked rise in RCT3.
It feels great in the front row. I just love it. It's so tightly knit together, and it just works.
There aren't many
so
instrument
well.
accelerators, I don't think, that do like a proper kind of layout and do proper elements.
Yeah, this is like one of the only ones.
Like this and Accelerator.
I'm shocked that no more exist. Because it's just so good.
It was great. Yeah. I love the. I mean, we're not the kind of people who are not going to watch any POVs to not spoil ourselves. So we were just watching all the POVs, and the little voice at the start is like, "No, get ready, here we go," and we were like just waiting for that sound. It's like music to our ears, and it was amazing.
Just things like that.
So Stormrunner.
I just really like this ride.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. I mean, I feel like I should have more to say because of how much I like it, but it's just so
you
well
got the
made
top
and
hat.
concise.
The top hat is pretty good airtime. I'll give it that. Good airtime over the top of that top hat, and then you go into that. What is that inversion? Because that is a weird inversion. It's it's like an Immelman.
It's an Immelman, but it snaps at the top.
Yeah, it's very strange.
I love it, and then it goes down, and then you go up. You rise, especially the front row. You rise into the flying snake. If you get airtime, then you get the hang time through the inversion, and you just get fucking pulled down.
I think Vinny was saying, like,
exit.
Our friend Vinny who went to Hersheypark before us, he was saying you get airtime going into it, and then because you get the hang time into the roll, you stay out of your seat.
Yeah, pretty
and
much.
And then you go. It's an awesome inversion. I will give it that. And then it has the bank rise, which the bank rise, it wasn't as whippy as I expected it to be. It was still good.
Well, it can't be that whippy.
No. I like a bit of whip, me. And then it ends. And it's a bit short, and it's probably.
I mean, it's short. It's short enough for me. I think it's perfect length for an accelerator because you've got two train ops permanently.
Yeah, I definitely like
trains
it.
Out.
It's definitely it's my favourite instrument accelerator by default, I think. But
Yeah, same here. Oh well.
Yeah.
The other thing with this ride is it also introduced us to the instrument vests, which are a thing that we've heard many things about. And I've been on Green Lantern and Atmosphere at Leesburg. Now both of these, they had instrument vests, however they're missing the padded covering.
Right, okay.
And that did actually make me quite worried. But then when I got to the park and realised they had this extra bit over the normal vest that actually keeps it comfy, I was like, oh, thank Christ, because otherwise that would have been super uncomfortable.
But no, those restraints are great. Like, I feel like Rita. I mean, if Rita was
Rita would benefit
restraints,
from those.
it would benefit from them definitely.
I think Stealth would as well, honestly, but Thorpe would never fucking put the money in for that.
I doubt there's any point putting them on Rita at this point because that ride is not long for this world.
Who knows?
Well, I don't think it is. But no, they're great restraints. And they're on two of the rides at this park.
Yeah, the next one you rode had them was Fahrenheit.
This was one of the biggest sleeper hits of the trip for me, honestly. Like,
Yeah,
I wasn't
here.
expecting much out of Fahrenheit, and I came off like, that was so fucking fun. Like, wow. I love this thing. I like this more than Stormrunner, which is probably controversial, but
Yeah,
Man.
I certainly don't agree with you on that one.
No, I
but-
fucking love Fahrenheit because you and Max,
I did
you and
too,
Max
though.
went to the back row, and I saw
Yeah.
a single on the front row, and I was like, I'm going front row. Screw you guys. And yeah, so what a ride! It's like it feels like it is literally like Intamin's answer to a Eurofighter or an Infinity Coaster, I guess, and it's great. Like
It's got some great sustained positives.
I don't know.
I was quite taken aback by how forceful it was, honestly.
I don't see. This is the thing. I don't remember finding it that forceful. I just remember it being really nice. It just, I thought it flowed nicely and it was.
Well, no, yeah,
floaty,
it was sustained. It wasn't necessarily force standing in your seat constantly, but
No.
the forces like they kept going
Yeah.
rather than just like having a spike
Yeah.
and leaving. I loved it.
Um.
It doesn't quite have the whip though that a lot of Intamins do.
No, it does. It's
Which
a
is
lot
a
more.
shame.
It's a lot more fluid and
Yeah.
kind of flowing. It's very smooth, and it is very smooth, isn't it? Like.
Yeah, it's very smooth. It's got
Um,
some points, like the hill before the brake run. It's got some airtime.
That's
on it, like
airtime.
some
That's some
proper
good
airtime.
airtime. Yeah.
Better than 90% of the UK right
Ha.
there.
The one other thing, I believe, because the lift hill on this is vertical and it has 2 chains. That's because it has
Yeah.
no anti-rollbacks.
Yeah, I believe that is the case.
That is interesting. But yeah,
It's, just it's such a strange ride.
so you got the Beyond Vertical drop, which it's okay. It's not the best Beyond Vertical drop I've done, but it's a pretty good Beyond Vertical drop. And then you've got the Norwegian loop, which is a really nice. I'm going to use the word floaty a lot because that's how it felt. It was very nicely flowing, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the Cobra roll was a Cobra roll. There's not much to say about that.
The corkscrews were so good.
I love
They're
those
like,
corkscrews. They were
the
like,
corkscrews are in my opinion, were the best part of Colossus at Thorpe. The corkscrews, and they're on Fahrenheit, but better.
I think they were the
basically.
best part of Fahrenheit as well. Those corkscrews. They were really.
Yeah.
They had a really nice kind of gentle. It was a bit of a. It was a gentle whip, but it was a really nice, fun whip through.
Yeah,
those
then you have that
corkscrews.
going into the airtime hill and into the brakes. It's such a fun little coaster.
I loved
And
it.
it's very compact as well.
Yeah.
It's just well put together. It's not the most amazing thing in the world, but it's just one of those coasters that like you can always enjoy.
Yeah,
whereas some people
it's a
don't.
really good. I know a lot of people complain about this ride for being forceless and uninteresting, but nah, screw them. I loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. What did we do after Fahrenheit?
We rode Lightning Racer,
Oh,
which at the
God.
time was only running one train. Oh no, it was
Yeah.
running 2 trains on one side. That was it.
Well, I'll get my Lightning Racer experience out of the way. I had a headache this day. We were at Hersheypark, and it didn't affect me on all the rides, but anything that was rattly like a wooden coaster, it was bad. And I rode one side of Lightning Racer, and it was rattling me, and because my head was hurting, I did not enjoy it at all. And I think the fact that it wasn't dueling as well, I didn't have a good experience with Lightning Racer. And it's a real shame because it was down to the fact that I had a headache
Yeah,
that day.
I thought it was quite good. Honestly, I was quite surprised in a way because a lot of people said, "Oh, it's one of the worst GCIs." They're forceless. I found it really fun and enjoyable.
I can imagine when
And
it's
I-
dueling, it's definitely...
Oh yeah, when it's dueling, I definitely prefer it to Wicker Man.
Yeah, I could see that.
I know that a lot of people are going to jump down my throat saying, "Oh, but what about the storyline and the theme?" Like, it's as a roller coaster, and I like roller coasters.
Yeah.
Lightning Racer dueling is fucking awesome, right?
Fair
Seeing
enough.
the train go around and jump around the track as well, especially with GCI shaping as well, and little pops. It's just great fun,
Yeah,
honestly.
it's one of the ones I wish we could have seen it at night because Lightning Racer has like those lights all the way around the track,
Yeah,
which
it
look
does.
nice. I've seen them in photos; they do look nice. Yeah,
I just remember this
wasn't
ride
for
being
me.
a lot better than I thought it was going to be, and I came off thinking, yeah, I definitely prefer this Wicker Man. Before it was dueling as well. It kind of felt like Stampeder if it was good. Because one of the issues I had with Stampede is it just felt really slowly paced and sluggish and rough, but Lightning Racer was like really great, really great fun, and the dueling aspect of it was fantastically pulled off.
Yeah, I can see that. It does look like it would be.
I hope it stays around for a little while. I mean, if possible, I'd say give it a GCI retrack, so like they can come in and maybe change a few things, maybe change some of the banking in some areas and stuff, but keep everything else practically the same.
Yeah.
Lower some things slightly, maybe like Liber Ghost Rider. But
Fair
I
enough.
love it, and I hope it stays around for a bit longer, really.
Yeah. It's
unlike the other wooden coaster in the park.
Yeah, so after Lightning Racer, I decided to kind of sacrifice my credits and just skip every other Woody at this park, because I wasn't that bothered about the Woodies anyway, because none of them were like, if there was like a world breaking like GCI or Gravity Group here, then I wouldn't have skipped that. But what, you've got Wildcat, which I'd heard very mixed things about, and the others, so I skipped Wildcat, and you rode it.
Yeah, I thought it was shit. Like, straight up, it was just so boring and uninteresting. And not only that, it was on one train on a day that was extremely busy, and it took absolutely years to return to the station because the braking mechanism was doing some really strange things with it. And then when we actually got on it, it was just this really unenjoyable, bumpy... Like, it was overly bumpy considering how fucking forceless it was. I just don't like it. It was so uninteresting. There was nothing good about it. There were no, like, you don't even have GCI snap in any of the transitions. You don't have any GCI floater in any of the transitions. There's nothing.
Wow.
It says nothing coaster. It's just you just go forwards. It just feels like you're going forwards. There's no laterals. There's no air. There's no nothing. There's no positives. It's like, why? Why even bother? It's so bad. And I know it's GCI's first, so obviously it's not going to be the best thing in the world. But I don't think it was going to be that boring.
But yeah,
like,
it being GCI's first isn't an excuse for it being
I would
terrible.
take plenty of rides over this one. Especially, I take Grand National over this. Honestly, I would take Big Dipper over it as well, honestly.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Well, I mean, it's just...
Pretty much any of the Blackpool Woodies.
Yeah. Aside from Blue Flyer. In fact, I'd akin it to Blue Flyer, honestly. I really didn't like it. I just thought it was so boring and uninteresting and flat and just forced. It was way too rough for how little forces it had, okay? Like, it was...
Fair enough. So, yeah.
And get it gone. I don't
Piece of shit.
Like, it's a waste of space, and I don't like throwing around the term RMC this coaster, please, a lot. Please RMC this coaster, because fuck me.
Do something with it.
Yeah, that area of the park is so bland and uninteresting, and actually replacing Wildcat with something good might actually bring some new life into it. It's so bad.
So speaking of bland and uninteresting...
Oh, the next...
So after this we rode Laugh Track, which is an indoor Mara spinning coaster. So
this was the meme of the year when this was being built in 2015.
2015. It honestly shocked me that the ride was built in 2015. It opened for 2015.
Yeah.
This park, which gets as busy as it does, decided to get a Mara spinner, which can fit 4 people per train with 1 station.
Yep. So not rolling.
Is it any wonder? Like even with our fast pass, like
we were waiting for ages.
We still waited ages for this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
it had the most annoying music, the most bland aesthetic. It was just neon, like fluorescent paint, and that was it.
I mean, this is basically what they've done with Eurosat, isn't it?
Yeah, it basically is.
Yeah. So, and it wasn't that good. Like,
it wasn't even good. Like, it didn't even get spinning that much.
No.
And then we stacked on the block before the brake run.
Yeah.
Because of how slow they were loading the train.
Yeah.
I just burst out laughing.
It was quite.
It was so sad.
Quite sad. And to compare that to we did our last ride of the night at Scarefest on Spinball at Alton Towers.
Yeah.
Spinball fucking destroys Laugh Track. Like, I know Laugh Track is a standard layout and obviously it's not going to be as good, but Spinball actually was like spinning, like it made me dizzy.
Yeah.
It was intense. Like compared to this, Laugh Track is like what the fuck? Why?
There's nothing 3D in that ride. It's all just cardboard cutouts and dangling bits of string. It's so bad.
So yeah, Laugh Track, whatever. If you're
literally
here,
the best thing about
if you're here on a limited time, you can skip it. You're not missing anything.
I think the best thing about it was the mirrors and the queue line.
Yeah,
where it just warps you. That was a bit of entertainment.
So, I mean, what Wild Mouse? It's a Wild Mouse. There's really not much to say about it.
Yeah. We took quite a gap after this actually because we ate and did other things.
Yes.
We rode a couple things. Then we got back to getting the creds, and we got Super Duper Looper.
Yeah, which was my first vertical loop with a lap bar, I think.
I think it might. I mean, unless you technically count G-Force.
Oh yeah, of course. No, but like, it's not like a bulky lap bar like on the Mauras. Yeah. On the Maura X cars, you get like a big bulky lap bar, but the lap bar on this was small, and it was quite scary to go through such a like a big invert. Well, it's not a big inversion, but to go through an inversion with just a lap bar.
Hearing you say this makes me really wish you got on Tempesta. You would have shit yourself.
Oh yeah, I mean,
like, honestly,
God, that's.
I mean, with Super Duper Looper, I thought it was okay. I can't remember if I liked it more than the one at Magic Mountain.
I think you said you preferred New Revolution. I think I remember you saying that.
No, yeah, that was it. I preferred New Revolution because it sort of had a bit more forces and jankness going on, where Super Duper Looper was kind of smooth to the point of it being very okay and nothing more than that. Whereas with New Revolution, you could sort of have a bit of fun with it.
This had new trains as well, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Was it Gerstlauer?
Made by Gerstlauer, yeah, and they also got magnetic braking as well.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Along with that.
It's just nice that they're keeping their old classic rides kind of going.
Yeah. Also, Super Duper Looper's got one of the most satisfying lift chain noises ever in the world with the anti-rollback.
Right,
clacking.
I don't remember that. I'm going to have to watch that again.
Oh, it's so good. So with Sidewinder, Joel was still feeling a bit iffy, so he sat this one out.
It's a boomerang. It would have been my first Vekoma boomerang, so I was kind of annoyed that I was missing it, and at the time, I was kind of thinking, oh, is this going to be... This might be my last chance to ride this boomerang, because I was like... This is weird, because like the whole way up to the trip, I was thinking, God, my first Vekoma boomerang is going to be fucking Sidewinder at Hersheypark. That's really weird. And then I had to skip it because of my headache. But luckily, my first Vekoma boomerang was still on this trip, so that's alright. But I don't mind skipping it. It's a boomerang, whatever.
I mean, I thought it was pretty good, actually. It was very smooth for what it was, and it had the new Vekoma trains. It was my first encounter for new Vekoma trains. The MK1212, whatever they are. I thought they were pretty nice, actually. They, especially going around the Cobra roll, it really stops your head from slamming into the side of a plastic restraint quite nicely.
Oh, that's good.
It was a bit tough on the shoulders because I'm quite tall, but apart from that, it was very good. I mean, it's a boomerang. It was forceful and fun.
Fair enough.
It's really weird. Hersheypark's sort of got a lot of small rides in it, hasn't it? Like it's got...
Why has it got a boomerang?
Half-track Wild Mouse, Sidewinder, just stuff like that. It's just got all these like little things. It's like, why are they here?
It's very strange.
They don't fit, yeah. So, we're going to have a lot to talk about on this one. We've got Great Bear up next.
Great Bear. What was the most memorable part of Great Bear, Thomas?
All clear.
All clear.
Dispatch. All clear.
Dispatch. All clear.
All clear. And then finally you go.
These were the worst dispatches I've ever seen. Granted, I've not been to Fuji-Q Highland, but the dispatches on this thing were
bad. Was it 2 trains?
It was 2 trains. It was 2 trains.
It was 2 trains. Fucking hell.
And it was stacking.
It felt worse than 1 train ups, honestly.
At this point, like all 3 of the parks that we'd been to at this point had B&M inverts, and none of them seems to know how to operate them efficiently.
Yeah, but this one was fucking shocking, honestly.
It makes me feel like we're kind of spoiled by Nemesis, because
it makes all of the UK operations look fucking stellar. Like on all of them, including bad Nemesis Inferno operations as well.
God. Yeah, but
they did not. Apparently, something happened on this ride that we don't know about.
Right.
And because of that, they have 2 operator panels. They have one at the front of the station and one at the back of the station. So when they have to clear it for dispatch, first one has to do an all clear, and the rear one has to do an all clear, and the front one has to do another all clear again before they can let the train go.
It was, yeah.
It is so bullshit.
It's slow. Like, people were saying, like, oh, Great Bear's going to be disappointing just because of the amount of time you waited for it. And, I mean, we did...
Thank God we had that pass.
We did front row as well.
Yeah, we were walking in. We sort of looked at the queue and, it didn't look that long. Oh, we'll dispass it anyway. We sort of walk around. We walk along all these people. You sort of get to the merge point in the station, And you just see the operations. You're just like, oh.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Oh, that's why it's got a long queue.
But
it was out the gate as well, man. I don't think they had any extensions open, did they, or not? I just
don't
remember it being
that, honestly.
ludicrous.
But the ride itself, like,
I loved it.
yeah, I am a B&M Invert fan. I wasn't blown away by this, mainly because of my headache was playing up on like some of the valleys. It got a bit unbearable. But it was smooth. It had nice inversions. I liked the flow. I love that bit over the creek at the end with those fucking crazy supports. That's just kind of cool.
This whole ride is just so wacky for an invert, honestly.
Yeah,
it's got the flat section. It's got that first drop bit, which actually had. That first drop bit, I thought I was going to be completely forceless. It did actually have some positives to that turnaround, which I found really weird.
Yeah, it was.
I just remember liking it a lot. I think I liked it more than Talon in the end.
Right, yeah, I definitely.
The previous
it's
day.
my fourth favourite invert, so I definitely like it more than Talon.
Oh yeah, it's just great fun, and it's got a lot of speed to it. And the only place where it kind of lets up is the end.
Yeah,
where it's just got that slow S bend, but it's literally because of how stupidly compact this ride is.
Yeah,
it's the case with a lot of things in this park. They are built into such a tiny space.
I feel like Great Bear is kind of B&M's teaser of what Gronerland's invert is going to be like. Because that's
what, in terms of how
it's kind of squeezed in around the other rides and everything. Like, yeah, I can see that.
Great. I mean, if you think about where Great Bear is, and you think about without Great Bear, there is literally no other space that you could put it. It's such a just fucking round of applause to whoever designed that, because that must have been really difficult to do and get into the right place.
Right. Yeah. Well, we've got a non-roller coaster to go to next.
Yes, we do.
Coal Cracker, which is a log flume.
Yeah, a log flume, which was probably one of the biggest surprises of that park as a whole by quite a large margin.
It is. I mean, it's a log flume that it's pretty intense for a log flume. Like,
it's so fast.
Yeah.
It is so fast. So we got on it, and we just sort of went up the lift hill. And you just go scooting around the trough at like insane speed.
I love how the boats look on this, by the way. I love the little metal aesthetic.
They're styled to look like they're made of like proper steel with rivets and stuff.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then you go sliding around that trough. You go up another little lift hill, I believe, and then you just sort of go down the drop. And it's got a thing at the bottom of the drop which kind of pushes the nose of the boat up, so when you go along the final splashdown, the boat sort of skims along the water a little bit, and it feels like you're bouncing up and down. That was quite scary.
You don't get wet at all.
Yeah, you don't get wet because you scoot over the water. It's cool. It's so cool.
Yeah,
it's the only one in the world now. Magic Mountain used to, it does have one of those, but they removed that aspect of the final drop.
Shame.
So it's the only one that still has it, and it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the best non-themed log flumes I've done by quite a large margin.
Yeah, good views of Great Bear as well, because it literally sits right underneath it. So that's cool. I like that.
It definitely is cool.
So
Alright, now we got another non-coaster we did before the end of the day was Reese's Tower.
Yeah.
Well, I did it with Max.
I skipped on this one again.
Holy hell. I don't think I've ever been taken off guard by a shot tower in my life. They've got 3 towers. They've got a small one, a medium one, and a large one. Apparently the large one's kind of blah, but people always say, go do Reese's Tower. Reese's Tower is the best one. And you sort of look at it off-ride, and you see them shoot up. It's like, oh, how is it going to be this forceful? And then you just see that, like, when it reaches the top, instead of just, like, sort of falling back to the ground normally, it's pulled back down at, like, a massive amount of acceleration.
It looks pretty crazy.
It had airtime. My restraint was quite loose, and I got launched out of the seat on that. It was definitely the best shot tower I've ever been on by far. It's just so ridiculous.
I do like the aesthetic of those 3 towers, kind of sitting next to each other.
Yeah, and they all light up at night as well.
And
looks great.
They literally they all sit in the foreground of the Flying Snake Dive on Stormrunner, which goes right behind it, which is cool. That was the thing I really liked about that area. So that was good. I didn't ride it because of my head, but
All right,
That's
now
cool.
the last coaster before we get to the one.
Oh, that the list you wrote is missing Trailblazer.
Oh yeah, Trailblazer. I mean, it's so forgettable.
It was
no
an-
wonder I didn't put it on the fucking list.
It's an Arrow mine train that does pretty much nothing. It also
It's
broke
so
down.
small.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's tell a story about how it broke down. We got into the station and then it broke. We walked off and then saw that it had stalled on the mid-course.
Well, it
So we
stopped
just
on
kept
the
walking
mid-course.
around the area and we saw them just push the train out.
Yeah.
And sort of went back later, got on it, and it was just bad.
I thought it had valleyed for a moment when it had broken, which would have been funny.
Yeah.
Um,
There's nothing to it. It's so short for an Arrow mine train.
yeah. I mean, the other two
Like-
we went on what, 2 other Arrow mine trains? Carolina, Gold Rusher, and
Mara?
Great Arrow. I said Arrow.
You said-
I said Arrow.
Oh, you said Arrow. Okay.
Yeah, we went on Carolina, Gold Rusher, and the one at Great Adventure, Runaway Mine Train, and they were both way better.
Oh, way better.
It's
yeah.
so weird how inconsistent, because they're all really different as well. They're
Yeah.
all really different, considering they're all Arrow mine trains.
Trailblazer's just crap though. It's so short. Okay, let me just run you through the layout. Okay, so you turn out a station, you go fast transfer, you got a lift hill,
Yep,
you've got a turn to the right,
yep,
you got a turn to the left,
yep.
slight dip up into the mid course, final helix brake run.
God, is that it?
Basically, yeah.
Thing is, I don't remember this ride that much. We definitely rode it, but my
definitely rode it.
memory of this ride is incredibly hazy.
Literally out of the mid course, it's a turn, helix, and then that helix leads into the brake run.
So pretty forgettable then.
It is so short,
Yeah.
like criminally short. I just don't get it. I don't know why they have it. It's so bad. I guess pretty much the only reason they still have it is so that families can sort of go do something.
They
but
need
it's just
something,
a waste
don't
of
they?
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't ride the other kiddie coaster, the Coco Cruiser. Honestly, I don't even know
Yeah.
where it is. We never found that. So whatever. So Comet, I didn't ride it because of my head, but you liked it?
I had a lot of good things about Comet, but I found it to be just alright for a classic buddy. I much prefer Grand National. I take it over Big Dipper though.
Fair enough.
I'd also take this over Wild One, which we did later in the trip. It was good. I mean, for a coaster that old, it's insanely good. I'll put it that way. Like, I mean, isn't it like the same age as Big Dipper?
I
if
think
not
it
a bit
is,
older?
yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere around that.
Ride's a hell of a lot better than Big Dipper. I can tell you that for free. But I don't know. It's weird. It's like a smoother, longer version of Big Dipper.
I can see
It's
that.
like it's the sort of thing you wouldn't ask for, but you wouldn't complain having.
It does look really long, actually. Looking at
Yeah,
it.
it
Looking
goes.
at it.
It really goes on for a little while.
Yeah.
And I'm just amazed that it's in the condition it is at the moment, especially compared to the Blackpool Woodies.
Yeah, it's nice, and again, it follows the same Hershey aesthetic of looking fucking gorgeous when it gets dark.
Oh
and
yeah.
it definitely added to one of our other rides
Yeah.
later in the day.
Well, funny you mentioned that because
Yeah.
now we're going to finally talk about Skyrush.
God. Oh my God. So
the big one, the one that everyone comes here for. and that
yeah.
everyone
So I mean, our
talks about.
first ride of the day. I mean, what were the things we'd kind of heard about Skyrush? Because what I was kind of told, like, I had a lot of expectations for Skyrush because a lot of people talk about this ride. I hear about the drop. I hear about the airtime. I hear about how bad the restraints apparently are. People have said it's terrifying, you know, and I think all of that's true, really. I mean,
Is it?
okay,
The restraint thing. I don't know.
the restraints are a weird one because I have a weird
I
opinion.
had
of the
zero
restraints.
issue with them personally. Like
I
they
don't
were
think
not
I did.
painful whatsoever.
The restraints,
And I've had much worse experiences than the Skyrush restraints, honestly.
the restraints on Skyrush are like, they're objectively terrible restraints. Like, I feel like they're just bad. They don't fit.
Yeah.
They're not comfortable. They don't fit on your legs at all. Like, they don't even sit where they're supposed to. And they
Yeah.
do, you know, they do squeeze quite hard. Like, if you've been on Smiler, you know how the restraints get on Smiler, how they push down on your legs. It's very similar to that.
Yeah. It is actually pretty much. But despite that, I did not.
Yeah, however, I fucking love these restraints purely for the fact that it feels like the bare minimum required to like keep you from being ejected across Pennsylvania by this fucking ride. Like, wow. The first ride we had, we were on the back row. We queued for the back row. I have never been so scared waiting for a coaster in my entire life.
Yeah, we both came off shaking after that first ride, and it wasn't even close to the best ride we had in the day as well. At that point in time, I think I put it as my number 6.
I had no idea how to rank it at that point because I was in shock after that first ride.
Yeah,
it is so intense, and not just like positives. Every single force this ride has is strong. Everything.
So that front row ride, was that the one after?
Yes, I think it was. But God, so I mean, we were in shock. Like, I had no idea what to make of this thing.
And Max had bought a keyring of the photo as well, because that was his first ride. He came off absolutely gobsmacked as well, because that was his first ride as well. Yeah, Max
loved it.
Did he put it at level 305 in the end or not?
No, he didn't. This is number 3.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So we were all fucking loving this thing. And then
we went back later at night, and we met somebody else, so we had enough for a full row.
Yeah, it's 404 Gaming DJ, shout out, great guy.
I kind of dibsed front left because I'm a massive coaster purist and something like Skyrush, and I needed to do this.
I was just happy.
And that ride at night on front left, I felt like I'd like left my body and then gone back into it. It was like an out of body experience.
It's insane. Yeah.
It took me aback as well because it was so much more forceful than earlier in the day as well. I almost grayed out on the second flat turn actually before.
Should we try and go like element by element through this ride?
We got the lift hill. Which is probably one of the fucking scariest lift hills in the world.
And we were like screaming that front seat coaster's POV going up the lift hill, the way it goes, "Here we go, baby!" And we were like fucking hyping it. Like, it does slow a bit at the top, so you don't get that same pull that you would have got back then.
Well, you get on Flying Aces now.
Oh yeah. And then you go down into the infamous drop kink, where
you feel it. You definitely feel
where did this started? Isn't it because the footer was placed slightly wrong and they just kind of put it in anyway and let the drop kind of bend?
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So you hit this kink and you feel the train kind of jolt downwards at a very bizarre pace, and you get kind of ejected forwards because you're like going down at this point. Whoops, you're going down at this point, and then you go into that turn. Straight into that airtime hill where it's pretty strong ejector, like over that hill, like pretty.
Probably the strongest airtime I've ever experienced so far, by a lot. You go into the second flat turn.
You go, that turn there. That turn there is where I almost blacked out. Like, that was an intense turn.
Yeah, I almost grayed out front left on that one as well.
And then you go into that second hill, which I think was stronger than the first hill.
Yeah.
Plus, you have that kind of. Is it
the view?
Yeah, and that kind of interaction with the track, and on the front row at night as well. You're flying around this layout, and Comet is like lit up with all those bright lights around you. It's just such a cool atmosphere. And then you go around another bend into the Stengel dive, which is fucking lateral bliss. Like, oh my god. Yeah.
You get folded to the side on that.
Yeah, and then you got that other turn.
Literally, your whole body just fucking goes.
I love
the Stengel dive. Yeah,
because one of the things about these Intamin trains, one of the slight problems I have with Icon and with the Max seats in general, I guess, is they have this kind of side bracing that stops you from being thrown around much by the lateral forces. On Skyrush, there's none of that. You're so exposed,
fucking flung.
So yeah, you get really pushed. Like, I was like, holy shit, I'm like on my side right now. Like, what? And then you go into another turn, which again, strong laterals. And then you've got that S turn, which fucking throws you. And then straight into another airtime hill. And then another turn. And then you hit the brakes. And like, fuck. Like,
it is a rush. And it is so tight. There are no low points in that ride. No. It's so perfectly knit together. and it's my number 2.
Yeah.
And it stayed my number 2 throughout the trip as well.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, this was my number 1. Like, after the night ride, like, I was like, what the fuck? Like, okay, yeah, number 1. Like, it took a couple rides, but number 1, easily. And it did get taken by something else a couple parks later.
I think everybody who knows this knows what that is.
Yeah. But for that day, I was on a fucking Skyrush high. Like, God, what a ride. Loved it.
I'm just amazed that a ride like that can exist on so many different levels.
This
honestly.
is a clonable layout as well, so please, somebody, somewhere in Europe, can we please have one of these somewhere? And put...
I can't get over how good... The fact that you're so exposed to the elements as well.
It's insane. Like, the sense of speed, the sense of force, the sense of out of control.
The speed, the force, out of control, the height as well. Like... I know it's 200 feet exactly, but I mean...
It's not even as tall as the big one, but...
Yeah.
Fucking hell. What a ride. What a fucking rush.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm getting really sad now looking at this, because I just really want to go ride it again, honestly.
I know. I miss it so much. This... Yeah. It's
just one of those things, isn't it? It's just one of those rides.
Yeah. It is an insanely good ride. Like, God. It's just intense. It's fast. It's forceful. I mean, we've repeated this over and over again now. We fucking love Skyrush.
It was the first ride of a trip that properly grabbed me.
Yeah.
Like, things at Great Adventure. El Toro, as you know, so that was kind of out the window. But then when we came to this, I was just like, oh my god.
Yeah, El Toro was like
worth it.
El Toro was like I guess this is. I mean, I kind of... Yeah. I wasn't even sure if it was better than Icon at the time. I think it is now, only just, for me. But this was the first ride where I was, like, properly like, holy shit, this is nothing else I'd been on compares to this. Like...
Yeah.
Amazing. Loved it.
Properly good.
So, after Skyrush, we were like, merch. Gotta get the merch.
Yeah.
One other thing that reminds me of actually, free lockers at Hersheypark.
Oh yeah, Hersheypark has free lockers.
Yes.
You hear that?
You hear that?
Six Flags, Cedar Fair, Merlin.
I mean, who uses the fucking lockers at Merlin Parks? Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, true. Because we have bins.
We know how to deal with people's bags.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we got merch. This park has a crap merch selection. Like...
Yeah, I know. It's so pathetic and sad walking into that shop.
I guess
they had like 5 Super Duper Looper t-shirts.
Yeah.
1 Skyrush t-shirt that literally everybody owns. And I think they had a Fahrenheit one, and that was about it. They had nothing for Stormrunner. Yeah. Nothing for Great Bear. Nothing for...
I think there might have been stuff for some of the Woodies, maybe. There might have been something for Wildcat, actually. I don't remember.
I can't remember.
There wasn't much merch for what there was. A lot of it was Hershey branded merch rather than...
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, we've barely even touched on the fact that this is Hershey's, like Hershey's chocolate theme park.
I mean, we'll come to that. I mean, somebody asked a question about that, actually, which we can get to pretty much later.
Yeah, so, I mean, not the best merch selection. I got my Skyrush t-shirt, which is all I really wanted at the end of the day.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much our day. I mean, Skyrush really left us on a high.
Yeah, like I was a bit miserable at some points in the day because of my headache, but Skyrush kind of left me on that high that I was like, yeah, okay, this was a fucking great day. Like,
and the next day you went to Six Flags America.
Yes. So do you want to get onto
park.
Some Twitter questions? We only got a couple, but
no, we've got the park future first.
Oh, have we? Okay. Yes.
So since we've been, they announced a brand new entrance,
a brand new area,
and a new area,
and
a new coaster. And my God, do they need it? Like, seriously, they've been prepping the land around that new expansion area for absolutely ages, and now they've finally got something they've actually announced for it. They're going to completely redevelop the entrance of the park to make it a lot bigger. Thank fuck, they need it. I'm going to miss the old entrance, though, because it looks really nice.
Hopefully they keep some of it there as a kind of...
No, it's all gone. It's all going.
Is it? God.
Yeah, all of it's going.
Christ.
Yeah,
Wow.
I know.
What a shame.
Rip that.
It was nice that we got to see it in its prime, I guess, before it gets...
I'm just glad. I mean, the redeveloping the entrance will definitely benefit the park, and now they've got the whole other area to expand into, so they don't have to keep cramming things into this really overly tiny area of the park.
Yeah.
Getting a B&M Hyper, so that should hopefully improve the capacity issue they have.
Yeah, and I think a B&M Hyper makes sense at this park. There's a lot. I've seen a load of people going, why do they need a B&M Hyper when they have Skyrush? Like, Skyrush does not ride like a B&M Hyper. Not at all. They are different rides. And
very, very, very different.
Yeah. I think the B&M Hyper would be... it's an excellent fit for the park. It's perfect, honestly. They need something that's big, that will draw in crowds, and has good throughput. And honestly, I think that will fit.
Oh yeah, definitely will.
And it'll be
100%.
a lot more family accessible than Skyrush will, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that being said, there were quite a few like youngish kids going on Skyrush.
Really?
Remember?
I don't remember that. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's pretty much Hersheypark. It's a weird one.
It is a weird park.
There are these absolutely amazing rides and amazing areas of the park, but there's also just areas like the fucking.
And then the area around the Woodies and the water park area, and the crowds were a bit of an issue that day.
But despite that, I mean, it kind of despite all of that, it's still an absolutely fantastic park, and I love it to bits.
I'd go back.
I cannot wait to return. Yeah,
I'll be going back one day, probably for the expansion.
All right, we had a couple questions. I'll kick off with the main one, which was what has it actually got to do with chocolate? Is it a good branding experience, or would it be the same without the company's name on it? I did not think as Hershey, I did not think of the brand once.
Well,
throughout that entire visit. Actually, no, I did once, and that was on Reese's Tower.
Yeah,
but that was it.
Like the brand, I think because I mean the Hershey's factory is here, isn't it? I think
you see it at the entranceway, and that's it. Like during the park, there are like mascots that walk around, and they have Cup Fusion.
Yeah.
Or what Cup Fusion was when we went, because it was still the original thing, but I believe that was Hershey themed.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's pretty much all they've got in the
There is the Hershey's
branding.
Chocolate World, like that is their I mean, we have Cadbury World in Birmingham, and this is obviously on a much larger scale. That's something that people do, like when they go to Hersheypark. Even enthusiasts do that when they go to Hersheypark.
Yeah, but it's not actually part of the park. It's outside of the theme park, so you could genuinely think they're separate entities.
Yeah, there's not
companies.
The theme park itself. I mean, they don't even name any of the rides or many of the rides at all. Like after the chocolate brand, it's really
the Hyper might be.
Yeah, allegedly, Candemonium.
Allegedly, yeah, and they're gonna have a trainers theme to each of the brands.
Not a fan of that name. Got to be honest.
Neither
not
am I
fan.
really, but oh well, they'll make it work somehow. I hope.
Yeah, that was...
I wonder how many times people have said, I hate that name for something, and it just becomes so commonplace that we just don't care.
That's what we were saying about Icon as well.
Yeah, that Icon as well.
Honestly, I quite like Red Force as a name. I feel like one of the only people that actually likes the name Red Force. Icon's a bit of a crap name. Wicker Man, again, it's a bit of a crap name. I guess what else could they call it?
The other question we got is, do you think Wildcat is more worthy of a retrack from GCR and RMC conversion? Now, I did actually think about this for a while. Because there are some areas on Wildcat that would be quite difficult to RMC.
Right.
But when it just sort of comes down to it, I don't think it serves its purpose as Wooden Coaster very well.
No, I mean the part doesn't
Lightning
need
Racer's
it.
right next door.
Yeah.
If Lightning Racer wasn't there, then I'd say maybe, retrack it, not give it the RMC treatment. But I think they should just full on either get rid of it or
RMC.
So
the thing, RMC's... Once you've RMC'd a coaster, it's not a wooden coaster anymore. For all intents and purposes, it's a steel coaster, because they do not ride like
you have
at all.
literally with Lightning Racer and Wildcat, they're right next to each other.
Yeah.
Why would you go ride Wildcat when Lightning Racer's over there and it's so much better?
Yeah.
Like, honestly. What are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that you could really say is, you're losing GCI's first ride. You know, you're losing a bit of history, but, I mean... how
It's not a good
is it
GCI.
worth it? Is it worth keeping
No.
that history for an absolutely
Is Gwazi worth
abysmal
keeping?
ride? Yeah, I mean Gwazi's getting that now apparently as well.
Well, yeah, exactly. So
Yeah. So yeah, fuck Wildcat. RMC it. Apparently, I've not been on it, but I don't think.
right.
Don't
Well,
think
that's
it'll
about
bother me.
everything then.
Yeah.
On Hershey. Yeah, so this podcast is going to be probably going to come out a little bit shorter than our other ones, but
No, we've been going for
We'll
about
tell-
an hour. We've been going for over an hour.
well, yeah, but like usually they're an hour and 10, and I'm going to have to cut a lot from this one.
Fair enough. Okay.
But yeah, no, it's been a bit of a shorter one, only by like 10 minutes or so
Yeah.
though, because obviously discussing one park. When we did try recording this before, we sort of squeezed it into half an hour, and we didn't really say everything we had to say.
Yeah,
so
this
kind
is
of
our second.
broadened
This
it
is our
out.
second attempt at the Hersheypark podcast. Believe it or not.
Yeah, because I accidentally deleted my audio recording and everything at haywire, and yeah.
But no, this is. I think this was good. Yeah. Leave any feedback in the comments or on our Twitter, or reply to my Twitter or Thomas's Twitter directly.
We'll put up on Twitter about what the next one's going to be if we can get the guest on for Icon. I mean, if not, we're probably going to end up talking more about America, getting Dorney and SFA out the way.
Yeah.
Boy, have we got some things to say about SFA.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for listening, I guess.